Good evening, everyone, and welcome to FilmSnobbery Live. I am your host, Nick Baisley. Wow, it's been a heck of a past 24 hours, but I'm really happy to be here. We are here at the beautiful Hot Pixel post-production facilities over in Universal City, California. If you ever have an opportunity to come on down here, you definitely should. It's awesome stuff. We have a fantastic show for you guys this evening. Hopefully, everyone is as excited as I am, because actually the people that we're having on the show tonight, I've wanted to have on the show for a long time, and we just haven't been able to make it work, and it took kind of almost an emergency to finally force everything together. And I want to just quickly say we were supposed to have Drew Daywalt on the show this week, but he had a family emergency. Hopefully everyone in his family is good, and everything is awesome. But that said, I'm so happy with the people we got to fill in, and it was a long time coming. So we have a whole lot of show for you guys. I want to first introduce what we're going to be doing a little bit. So our guests, they're in their 4th season of their show now, called Shelf Life, the series. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's action figures, and they're on a shelf, but not this season. This season, they're actually kind of off the shelf, and they're doing more stuff, and it's really cool. They actually even did it was an Indiegogo campaign to raise money. That's another thing we're going to be talking about during this show. We're going to be talking a lot about crowdfunding, because everyone is like, oh my God, Veronica Mars raised over $2 million in like 48 hours. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and the ramifications that has on the industry as well. We also are going to talk a little bit about their crowdfunding campaign for Shelf Life the series. When I say they, I mean Platt and Yuri Lowenthal. I always get tongue-tied on that one. I'm really excited, though, to talk to them about this, about their production company and what they're doing there, and just everything they do, because they also have really cool other careers outside of Shelf Life, as voiceover artists, actors, the whole 9 yards. And there's a whole lot of show to talk about. I want to make sure you guys are really asking questions in the chat room, because we have some great questions we got off of Twitter earlier today, and I also want to encourage everyone who's in the chat room right now to get questions ready, because we're going to be going to those as we go further into the show. But to give you an idea of exactly what we're talking about when we talk about Shelf Life, we decided what we're going to do is we're going to show you the entire first episode, because they're short. It's on there. They're cool. We're going to show you the entire first episode of Shelf Life Season 4, Episode 1. And when we come back, we're going to have our little interview with Tara and Yuri. So stick around. We'll be right back.
On the History Channel, World's Greatest Weapons.
Oh no! Pew pew! Pew pew! Pew pew!
That's right, run!
Get it off! Get it off!
I'm trying to, it just won't come up! Oh my God! It's a bomb!
I know! Get it off me!
Oh, Jesus! I don't know, man! It's got the blue wire, right? Awesome!
Continue, Squeaky.
All I wanted to do was to make a small cut and see what was in here. Why am I so stretchy?
But you didn't, and you're a stronger toy because of it.
No, I totally did. It's like I'm full of strawberry jam.
Okay. Hero Lass, why don't you share something today? It's okay. This is a safe place.
I'm, markerholic.
Hi, Hurlass.
Little Miss Huffit, we gotta go.
Fuck off, HM. I'm right in the middle of my healing process.
It's BB. He's in trouble. Hey, any of you guys, want this?
Sam, you know you're talking to the right person. I could get you black, white, oriental, alright, Asian. You're so PC, you make it sexy. You know, they're like lollipops. They come in all the flavors. They even have an Indian Barbie now, where if you put her in the right position, both, sweetie, we're equal opportunity racists.
BB's in trouble!
Call me.
Oh, thank Almighty! Fuck you guys! Hurry up! I don't want to die!
Why did you come back here? Did the kids see you?
I don't think so!
You don't think so? You just broke rule number one of the accident.
No, don't talk about Fight Club now! Save me!
Shut up! I can't think straight!
Oh, that's just the withdrawal talking. Here, huff this marker. Wait, I have an idea.
What? Oh, God, you idiot! Please don't let the Reaper get my parts when I die!
You're not gonna die!
I have another idea. See ya.
No! I said no!
Oh, no! No, wait! Glass, he's right. If I stay here, you'll all die. I have to go. But first, there's something that I always wanted to tell you.
Yes?
I love you, Snake!
Wait! What were you gonna tell me?
I guess in all the excitement, I kind of forgot.
I remember what I was gonna tell you.
What's that? Wow. Really?
What? Oh, God, it's my eyes.
It's a team of smart adventure heroes.
Well, we're back, everyone, and I'm now joined with Tara Platt, Yuri Lowenthal.
Hello.
Hello, and
How you doing?
thanks for showing the episode. We're
Yeah.
great. We're much better now you showed that.
And you guys got to kind of watch it from here. Do you guys ever get, like, self-conscious at all watching your own work? I know I do.
Always.
Always?
Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly self-conscious, but I definitely, it's almost like a little kid when you take a video of a little kid and then you show the little kid the video. They're sort of not sure that it's actually them. There's this, like, awareness, but not sure exactly what's going on. That's how I always sort of feel when I'm watching myself.
I was actually talking with Bill, who's directing over there, on our way here, and we had an offer to have our stuff shown all over London.
Wow.
Great.
But it was our old episodes before we came to LA.
Oh.
Not that these are like horrifically better, but no, ours, we were on a virtual set and the whole thing, and I was just like, I don't want people seeing that. Like, I don't want that to be like what people remember us by.
Right. Yeah.
Now, and you guys do a lot of work aside, I mean, obviously Shelf Life, 4th season.
Yeah.
but you guys also doing other stuff, actors, actresses. You guys you do voiceover work a lot.
Yeah. That's what we might be most well known for.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. It's funny because I will literally be watching something on Netflix instant streaming, and it'll be an anime or manga type of thing, and then just like credits roll up. Yuri Lowenthal. I'm like. No,
wait
really?
A minute.
You're like every male lead, and it's been dubbed.
If they're anywhere from like 15 to 18, that's me.
That's you. Well, that's good. At least you'll have that to fall back on. It's like no, Now, and actually, we do have some questions from the audience specifically about voice acting. So we have one here from John Hoff. What is the key to doing an emotional scene when you're doing voiceover work?
That's an interesting one because voiceover work, you're generally in a closet basically by yourself. You don't have a set, you don't have costumes, you don't have for the most case other actors to react off of, and it can be tough. I would throw two things out, and that would be imagination is huge. I think with all the method acting and everything that's gotten a lot of play out there in the last 50 years or whatever, people have let their imagination, or have ascribed a lot less importance to the power of the imagination. But that's where so much of my acting comes from. And so I think if you can think about it before you go in a little bit and really reach with your imagination, come up with some specific things, it'll come easier. Also, for an emotional scene, when you're behind a mic, it's just like a stage combat scene, like a fight scene, for example, in a film. If it were real, it would totally be uninteresting and wouldn't look real. Like a real fight just filmed with a camera goes by so quick, and there's no but you choreograph it right, making it fake, and all of a sudden it becomes it plays better. Emotional scenes sometimes behind the mic work that way too. You don't have to always find the true emotion, and really get there if you know how to make it sound like you've gotten there. Sometimes, and I hate to put it this way, but sometimes faking it makes it sound more real.
But that said, I would also say really go for it. And when I say really go for it, I mean don't be self-conscious about pushing to get it out there. And I don't mean pushing to put false stuff out, although I agree with Yuri that there is a sense of falseness by doing it by yourself in a room. You're not reacting off of someone else, you're using your imagination. It's already these heightened circumstances that aren't real. But I would say, don't free yourself of worry. So in your own natural life, you may be self-conscious about how you look when you cry, but don't worry about it when you're behind the microphone. You just got to do it. Make big, bold choices and make it happen.
Making bold. You guys have made a lot of bold choices in your careers for what you guys do, and it seems to be always paying off. Like you guys, it's like there are people that fail upward. You guys succeed upward, which is.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go. I want to go for our first question we had from Twitter earlier. So we had a question earlier from Justin Ackley, Tiny Banana Bone, and banana spelled wrong, but that's okay.
Wrong or it's correct on Twitter.
Also right.
I mean, on Twitter you can spell however you want.
This is true. Right. This is true. But if anyone wants to follow him, banana spelled with two N's. So he says, FilmSnobbery, could you guys have asking you guys, could you guys have characters you voiced show up as other toys in the series, or will there be legal issues with it?
Oh, that's such a good question. We have actually contemplated that, but without getting all the legal details together, it's a little tricky because those characters are already owned and licensed.
Yeah, I've wanted to write characters into, and we can sometimes refer to them, and they can be in the background, but I think that any character who's an actual character, we have to sort of do it as our version of that character to avoid any sort of cease and desist notices. As great as the publicity would be for our show.
For the 3 minutes.
Right, we try to play it safe. And you'll notice characters in the background, or we'll talk about, Transformers or Smurfs, but we wouldn't have an actual Transformer and call it a Transformer on the show. But we try to hit some of the ones that people like. We try to find our version of G.I. Joe or our version of Barbie, or in this, first episode, our version of Ken from Ken and Barbie. He's different, and his name is Sven. It's not Ken. It's not Barbie's friend Ken.
Although, as far as characters that we have voiced or from shows that we've done, some of that has played a part in creation of characters, but we haven't tried to mimic necessarily one of them.
I will let you in on this little nugget. When Tara was first came up with the idea for the show and the main characters, the character of Bug Boy is sort of modeled off of Ben 10. And we had a, somebody who can, it's a kid who can change shapes into all these other shapes. In this case, it was bugs instead of aliens. And there was actually a character design that came through that was less costume. It was a kid with jeans and a cool jacket, and he was going to have a belt buckle instead of a magical watch. But
totally different.
Yeah, definitely.
It's absolutely different.
Right.
Clearly.
Just different enough. But characters we play definitely influence things on the show.
Awesome. And I think we have one more question here as well from Chris Digman. He says, who thought of making the music video for Shelf Life? Did you both have fun doing the music video?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it. I mean, as far as who thought of it, I think it was me.
I think it was you.
I think it was me that thought of it, because we were talking about sort of expanding the world and exploring what we could do, and I don't know, I've always sort of thought it would be fun to do a comedic music video, and specifically in character, like have the character be singing a song rather than it just being me, Tara Platt, doing a music video. I thought it would be kind of cool, and so the idea sort of popped into my head about what the song would be sort of about, and her desire to be famous, because without too many spoilers, Hero Lass has been a marker-holic for a while, and her journey with that. And I thought that would be fun to explore and play with.
In this next season, she experiments with a bunch of different things to try to break the habit, which, as you can see, 12-step program to start with. But also she flirts with the idea that maybe she'll become famous. Like somehow that would help her.
I mean, look at the day and age we're living in. Clearly, it's either some form of.
But you had fun because you wrote the song with Brendan McCreary.
Yeah.
Brendan, who also does our theme song for Shelf Life.
And
that's an awesome theme song, by the way.
It's so much fun.
It really
Brendan is so talented.
Who is brothers with Bear McCreary, who has composed and produced all of the score.
Yeah.
And you may recognize his name from all of the TV shows he scores, like Battlestar Galactica and Walking Dead and the Cape and all manner of things.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. So, all right, so you're in the fourth season, and to get there, you guys did an Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah.
Now, I have a couple questions on that. So the first one is, why Indiegogo over Kickstarter? That's the first one.
Okay, to answer that, the reason was, at the time, I knew that Kickstarter was sort of all or nothing, and Indiegogo, as far as I understood it, was if you chose to fund it regardless of what you made, it was flexible.
Right.
That was what I knew to be the difference at the time. Since then, they've changed it, and I think you can do flexible funding on Kickstarter as well. But at the time when I was looking into it, that was sort of the thought process behind it. Because we knew we were making season 4, and any money that we made would help to make it. But our goal, of course, and our hope was that we would make the goal, which we did, luckily.
And it was tough to know at that point whether the fans would respond, by being able to support it with their hard-earned dollars. Because it's, so many times I've seen web series that start out free, and that when they say, hey, we're going to have to start charging, people just walk away, and they're like, we'll go find free content somewhere else.
Sure.
So we weren't sure if people were going to, as much as they love the show, support it in that way, and we were pleasantly surprised.
You were pleasantly surprised to the tune of damn near 35 grand.
That's
yes.
correct.
That's more than I made last year. That's
See, there you go.
Yes.
by a lot. No.
And thankfully, I mean, it's all up on screen. I hope
great.
I hope that everyone that did donate and all the supporters can see, because I mean, all the money is on screen. It goes into the effects. It goes into the costumes.
Coke and whores.
Oh yeah, all the Coke and whores.
Yes.
I keep
Hookers and
forgetting
blow,
the hookers and blow, right? Hookers and blow.
Hookers and blow.
But yeah, so
How do
I
you
mean,
think we make these
it does
shows?
translate
you gotta have
into
that.
making the show bigger and better, which was fantastic.
And you guys did something that, I mean, you guys already kind of had a model for the first few seasons where it's like, it's toys on a shelf, very simple in as much as to do, and then you guys are like, now we want to expand it, we want to have locations, quote unquote, for these people to actually be able to kind of work on. You're out now, you have, was it Monkey Kingdom Productions, you have your own studio now, place to shoot at, and you guys have, you guys have kind of gone above and beyond just like, oh, we're going to make a web series and we're going to do this thing, we're going to stick to this model. You're giving your fans more, you're giving, but you're also giving yourselves more.
Yeah.
Whose bright idea was that, and who was drunk at the time?
Right.
Which is like, what we should do? We should totally just take them off. They're off the shelf, man.
It's it was tough because I mean from day one that was stuff. There were ideas that we had that could only exist off the shelf, but we're like, this is the show we can manage. This is a budget we can hang with. Keep them on the shelf. It'll be much easier to produce. it was of course far more complicated than we expected to even just keep them on the shelf. But as the show went on, both we wanted to take them to other places, and the fans were like, hey, what if they're here? What if they're there? And then at the very end of season 3, we took them for the season finale. We took them off the shelf a little bit in this sort of makeshift, under the bed set that we built right next to the shelf in the studio. But the response to that was great. We all had a lot of fun. Introducing new characters injected a life, and an excitement to the show and the people making it. We're just like, we got to go with this, but we can't afford, for all that to come out of pocket. And that's when we decided maybe they'll be excited enough to.
But as far as the big ideas, Mr. Writer over here was like, well, I'm sure that the directors will say, well, we can't do this. This is unreasonable. And so I'll just put everything down on the paper, and then we'll cut and we'll change things. Well, we didn't. We kept it all. So
yeah, I was.
All the craziness in his head ends up on.
Yeah, I wrote all these big sort of and some huge set pieces that I thought, oh yeah, they'll say we can't do that. Let's find something smaller. And then we had the meeting with the directors, and they're like, yeah, I was like, there's nothing you want to... No, it's good. I'm like, yikes. So we ended up having some bigger... wait do you see that? I mean, hopefully this first episode bodes well for, is a good harbinger of what's to come. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a really good example of what you guys set out to do with that Indiegogo campaign. You guys really had and fans really responded well to that. I mean, were you guys surprised by the amount of support you guys actually got?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, like you said, I mean, it was close to $35,000. I mean, we went 10% over what we were requesting, which is amazing because, like we were talking earlier, you can look at the mark that you're trying to make, and then you realize you've made it, and there's no real incentive to give more than that.
Yep.
But people want to be involved in something that they're excited about, and they wanna help you, and they want to become. If you really are a fan of something and you're invested in it, it's exciting to you to see it succeed. So I think that's
we learned a lot by doing the campaign, and one thing I have to say is it's a lot of work to run a campaign.
It's like a full-time job.
Oh yeah.
That could become successful. You have to. First it's a lot of prep.
Yep.
Then it's a lot of maintenance, and and getting back to people who have who have donated and thanking them, as well as trying to get people to spread the word. Putting up new content every day to keep people excited
that's what we
about
chose
it.
to do. Not everybody does that.
Right.
And just to to like what Tara said, to let people know that it's about getting involved with the production as opposed to just, hey, we want your money so we can do some stuff.
Do you guys feel that you guys have an advantage because there's two of you versus just like when we came out here we raised $5,000,
which is great,
but it's just me doing it,
Right.
And that was a challenge as it was. Do you guys feel that you guys had an advantage because there's two of you or more working on this at any time?
That definitely helps.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we do have a couple more questions from the audience. Devin Watson, Declan, says, Declan, great guy. When doing a web series with a smallish crew, is there a lot of delegation that goes on, or do you have to wear a lot of hats throughout the production?
We wear a lot of hats, but we have we've assembled over the course of this and before we even started on this production. An amazing circle of people on which to
Would you
draw.
say it was almost like an Earth's Mightiest Heroes type of situation of crew?
It kind of is. We say Shelf Life Assemble, and then no. We should totally say that.
You should totally sell Shelf Life Assemble.
Because I mean because
do you have the Shelf Life signal?
Right, yes.
Oh, that would be, and I just shoot it off the top of Monkey Kingdom Studios.
Right.
Yes.
It's hard when you're when you're doing stuff like this, when it's indie film or self-financed web series or whatever it is. Low budget anything, people are usually doing it for the love.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of money in it for people, unfortunately. I'm just trying to make this work.
I keep getting hand signals from the director. I'm trying to
Right. Hopefully we're good. And so I mean that's the beauty of it. I mean it's a lot of hard work. We wear a lot of hats. Everybody's working their ass off, on the shoot, and nobody's getting a paycheck.
Yes.
So you want it to be as happy a place as possible. So you learn which people you like working with and bring a good energy to set.
Mm-hmm.
People
and who you can rely on.
Yeah.
Because that's it too.
It's a flaky LA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
You know, you need to know that if you've got a production schedule, that it's going to be able to happen.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to let the fans down. You know, now we're every episode on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, you better have an episode next week. You know?
You guys are culpable now because of the, you know, the fans have made the investment. So you know, you would do it anyway, but you do feel an obligation to,
Absolutely.
you know.
And hopefully, if there were a problem in the future, they would be understanding if we were to go out and say, oh my gosh, something happened, we can't put it up there. But we do feel responsible. Like, we're trying to give them what they have paid for.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my old co-host Jerry, his girlfriend has a question.
Yes.
So Jackie wants to know what your dream roles are.
Oh.
If they hadn't already filmed Amelie, you would play Amelie.
I would totally play Amelie. That would be a dream role for me. Anything Jean-Pierre Jeunet or Terry Gilliam or Tim Burton or any of those wild, fantastical, magical worlds where it's somebody adventuring or being inquisitive or figuring it out or discovering it, that would be like my heaven. More specifically, if I could be in crazy costumes and wonderful physical disguises and in a beautiful aesthetic surrounding would make me so happy.
and I'd usually tend towards the darker in general, so it's sort of in a way the opposite of you. Can't think of an exact. But if I could play like a serial killer who was also Indiana Jones, I don't know.
You could be the serial hooker with a heart of gold.
Yes, yes. Serial hooker, killer, adventurer with a heart of gold. That's what I would do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, in reference to, like, you know, you guys, you know, do work on Ben 10 and do work on some of these, you know, other like anime and manga roles and all these stuff. Is there kind of a voiceover club where, like, once you guys start getting into that, like, you just start getting work? I mean, Ben 10 obviously is a big one. I mean, that's Man of Action did that, right? Yeah. So you have Man of Action, and they went on, they did Ultimate Spider-Man now, and you know, some other stuff. You know, but in regards to like Ben 10 specifically, being, especially with the success of it, you know, do you find that, you know, now it's like the doors have opened, we're in?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a circle that once you get in there and you sort of make yourself known as somebody who's dependable, that people can count on for certain things, directors do keep you in mind. So it does get easier to get hired. Now, you could screw all that up by, you know, letting your head get really big or not showing up to things on time. I mean, that could all go away. It's not like a...
It's not guaranteed.
It's not
just
guaranteed.
You end up sort of, your name is in the pot when they're getting ready to consider auditions, as opposed to not being aware of the audition.
Right.
I was going to say, is the audition process completely, especially once you've done it a couple of times, is the audition process different than the typical Hollywood audition when, you know, someone's going in for a casting call? You know, now with a voiceover, I mean, is it still you're submitting a voice reel, so to speak, and, you know, whatever, do you guys, once you started doing it, do you still have to do that every time?
Yes.
Yeah, we still audition all the time.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the bonus is that when we audition, if people see our name on it and they know us really well, they might go, oh, let's make sure we listen to that one. But we still audition for everything. It's rare that somebody calls us up and says, here's just a part. It happens occasionally with directors you've worked with for a while. If they don't have a lot of time to cast something, they have their sort of short list of, I've worked with these people a lot, I know they can handle it, just call them up and see if they're available.
And is it almost entirely you're stuck solo in a booth doing a voiceover? Is it?
No, it's all very dependent on the type of job you're working on. If you're doing a Japanese dub for anime, you are by yourself because it's timed, you're watching the clip, you're having to sync your line to that over and over again. If you're doing a group record like for Ben 10 for original animation, there's usually all of the actors are in the room with their own microphones, and it's almost like doing a play reading where you can see each other and you have your own script and you're working together.
Yeah, that's
a video
we
game.
usually prefer those.
Yeah, those are always nice because it's nice to work with other actors. A video game recording is sometimes between the two. You may have a group record for a video game, although that's rare.
That's really rare.
More often than not, you're by yourself, but you're not syncing usually to something. You're just reading your own dialogue off a script. So it's all dependent.
But as far as Ben 10, you know, because it being such a high-profile job, opening doors, sometimes it works in the opposite. Because it's a very identifiable character that is on right now that is very popular. For example, I think I probably will get shuffled to the bottom of the pile for other Cartoon Network shows because they're like, well, he's already Ben 10. Or, you know, even maybe with some other networks and other shows, they're like, yeah, well, he's already Ben 10. We want to make sure that it's different from that. So sometimes it can work against you, but I'm not complaining.
You're like, no, I know I'm totally playing 16 to 18, but I could totally play 21 to 24.
I really could. Yeah.
That's the beauty of voiceover too. Is we play these people on camera, and it's hard to unless they're covering us up in makeup, like Eddie Murphy. You could look different, but usually we just get whatever that is and whatever this is. But in in voice acting, as long as we can sound like it, whether it's really young or really old or like a creature or from another country or whatever it is, you can potentially play the part, and so that's huge.
What do you prefer doing more? Do you prefer doing the voice acting work, or do you prefer doing more live action stuff, like whether it's Shelf Life, which I know is your baby, so maybe that's obviously you have an affinity for that more often, but let's say anything you guys might go out for in regards to acting.
I think I like being a working actor, so I'm happy when someone wants to hire me to be a working actor. So behind the camera, in front of the camera, I really, behind the microphone, but in front of the camera, I don't really care. But there's a part of me that really, because of my aesthetic, I really like doing on-camera work because I do like the costumes and the sets and the props. And like I said earlier, I mean, even if you look at Shelf Life, it's a very aesthetic show. It's very sort of heightened reality, very colorful, very like imaginative in that sense, and that's my dream and my hope, is to work on that type of project, and so that always gets me excited, and I always like that. I mean, like, if I had to get rid of that, I would be really heartbroken.
Yeah, I'd be sad if I was relegated to any one for the rest of my life, because I feel like they each feed me in a different way. But there's something to be said for voice acting, just getting to roll in and not have to go into costume or makeup or sit around while they're tweaking lights or anything like that.
Or like Yuri was saying, play a multitude of characters. I've voiced boys, I've voiced old ladies, I've voiced really strong warriors, and I mean, if you look at me,
You were Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm fairly petite,
right?
but I can be Wonder
Woman.
But I can be Wonder Woman. And you can believe it, so it works.
And you got Robin, I think, right? Or is that, or Nightwing?
You know what? That's internet rumor.
Is it?
Yeah, somebody keeps posting on that. Whenever something comes out that could potentially have Nightwing in it, they put my name up there as cast as Nightwing, and I always have to explain to people when they say congratulations on Nightwing. As much as I'd love to play Nightwing, I've never been asked to play Nightwing.
But you did another DC or Marvel character, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done. Well, I was just on Young Justice.
Young Justice, that's right.
Goon Boy, and I was Ice School Junior on that.
Nice.
And then yeah, Ice School Junior on that, and Bobby Drake, Iceman on Wolverine and X-Men.
That's
you
right.
like Ice?
Yeah, I'm cold.
Oh, and you did the Wolverine for the video game, right?
And I worked on a Nightcrawler, or I was.
And who says I don't do my research?
Right, I know.
Nice.
You got everything. I dig it.
I love it. I love it.
But I just finished shooting a short film called Faithful, which is actually sort of a reimagining of a short film I did a long time ago. Somebody came to me looking for a script and for a short film, and I said, well, this is a film I did a while ago, but I've always wanted to revisit it. If you like it, great. And he loved it and ended up producing it, and we just shot it, and hopefully it'll be out soon. I'm really excited.
I was gonna, well, while we're on that thread, so aside from Shelf Life, you guys obviously keep busy all the time. What other things are you guys currently working on, or what's coming out? Where are you going to be? Like, if people want to know where you're at.
Yeah.
We've actually got, our last couple of years have been low on the appearance level, but
We've got a bunch.
But this year we're
as for cons coming up, I don't know the exact dates, so I'm just going to tell you what they are. We've got Dubai Comic Con
Wow.
in April, if you're in Dubai. We've got Phoenix Comic Con. We've got Ottawa Comic Con Convention, and we've got Vancouver.
Yeah, it's called Anime something.
Something, but it's in Vancouver in June.
That's cool.
So those are the next few conventions coming up, and then as far as projects, we actually both shot an episode of Hawaii Five-0.
Really?
And it's coming out at the end of March, which will be really fun because we get to work together on Hawaii Five-0,
March 25th,
and so that'll be coming to air. And then I was just in the movie that's actually coming out tomorrow, the Halle Berry Tonight at Midnight, the Halle Berry movie.
The Caller.
I'm in that.
Call.
Yeah, the call.
Yeah.
I'm in that, and I get to work with her, so that's really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it. So it was a really good thing. You guys
very well timed.
Very well timed. You guys had your movie coming out. You guys got season 4 coming out. You have all this. You guys are jet setting around.
I know.
Yes.
Speaking of cons, we're finishing up post on a movie we've been working on for a while called Con Artists. That's a it's a mockumentary about the convention circuit.
Oh, really?
Voice actors on the convention circuit.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
And did
we
you
make a lot of fun of ourselves.
Yeah.
Heightened versions of ourselves.
is it anything like Mark Hamill did with like comic book the movie?
It's sort of like comic book the movie.
I like that.
It's a little more focused. He sort of hit a bunch of different things in comic book the movie, and ours is more sort of the weird fame of a voice actor who, you know, outside of a convention hall, is nobody. Like, nobody knows what you look like, nobody cares, nobody recognizes you on the street, you don't get special treatment, you know, at restaurants or clubs or anything. But then as soon as you go into the convention hall, you know, because that's where the fans are, it's like you're the Beatles. And then you walk out the door again, you're nobody.
It's a very strange and funny thing.
Yeah. So we always thought that was funny, and we're...
Is there any other well-known voice actor or actress that you guys would want to work with that you haven't yet, like a Billy West or you know, or was it John DiMaggio or something like that? I know I'm just going to name the entire cast of Futurama.
Luckily,
but
we have worked with John DiMaggio, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I mean, I've never gotten to work with Frank Welker.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I've been very...
and I know he does. I know he does indie movies too.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
But I've been really lucky to work with a lot of the people who I, you know, always idolize. People like John DiMaggio and Clancy Brown and Billy West.
Love Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
I saw him today.
Oh,
Did you?
He was like reading a book, and I was like, oh, okay, I will bother you. You're working.
Yeah, it's amazing the people you run into in the voice acting world too. It's really exciting, and I have to like make a concerted effort like not to nerd out all over them as soon as they walk in the door.
Yeah.
I gotta play it really cool, like, oh yeah, like, I don't even know who you are, you know. And then usually by the end of the thing, I'll be like, so you know, I loved you in, you know, whatever.
The most obscure title you were ever in.
Right.
Nice.
That's the kind of movie nerd I am.
I'm a nerd obviously, and I got to meet recently was Helen Slater.
Really?
Supergirl, yeah. And I'm just like, I was working at the time, but I was like, I just want to take a second and just let you know I really appreciate your work, because I didn't get around to telling her. I think I saw Supergirl before I even saw Christopher Reeve and Superman, because that Supergirl came out in '84. I was born in '81,
Right.
so I think I saw hers first and then saw Superman, you know, after that.
Cool.
So she was your Supergirl.
She was in a way, yeah, with better legs.
Yeah, well, you know.
But here's the thing: don't ever go up to Jake Gyllenhaal in a restaurant and try to tell him that you liked his haircut. That's a story for another show.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that even.
Well, and
because he looks like a guy who would kick my ass.
It's because you're smart. I don't think you should go up to any celebrity you don't know personally in a restaurant while they're eating.
Yeah.
But and I knew that, and yet somehow I didn't.
But to be
listen my
fair,
own
you
advice.
actually had a connection with him, so there was a reason for you to go up to him. But then it all
Didn't
sort
matter.
of tanked.
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
But you did have a reason. You weren't like super creepy dude.
No. I mean,
There was a
I
connection.
was the Prince of Persia in the video game, and he was the Prince of Persia in the movie, and I thought that would somehow start a conversation.
But you also know mutual people that like should have been able.
Well, that's
like, I'm
you're
not
like-
quite as
Let's
creepy.
just say it didn't end well.
I was gonna say, did you walk up to him and just be like, "I was you," you know?
No.
Or you didn't rock out
No.
creepy like that? No, just.
You know, as soon as you walk, if you don't know the person, you know, personally, as soon as you walk up to the table, you're the creepy guy.
That's true.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
if you
matter
open
who.
your mouth
Yeah.
or not.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
It's very awkward.
So let's. I know. You guys, I think, are catching. You guys catching a plane tonight?
Catching a flight
but
tonight.
You're catching a flight out of here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just making sure. Let's go back to the chat room one more time to see if there's anything else going on here. And if I don't have anything right this second, no, yes, maybe. All right. Well, let's. So the episodes of Shelf Life come out every Tuesday.
Yep.
All right. See, I pay attention.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's tell everyone though where they can see it, because we said when they can see it, but not where. So it's.
Absolutely. You can right now. I would recommend going to youtube.com/shelflife the series. That's the name of our channel, Shelf Life the series. But things get updated eventually on our shelflifeseries.com website, and there's a lot more. There are a lot more links to our like Tumblr site and old episodes and things like that. If you go to shelflifeseries.com,
Yeah.
There's
It
a
just needs
Facebook
to be
page
updated.
as
So
well.
check YouTube for our most recent episode. So
Awesome.
You can find us on Twitter under our names too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at Tara Platt and at Yuri Lowenthal, which I believe we have.
We're pretty
we have
easily
lower
stalkable.
we have lower thirds
Oh,
for and
nice.
everything.
So
We try to make it easy. It
I
is.
like it.
Like
I like
a Sunday
it.
morning in here. It really is.
Yeah, that, we did a little bowl of cereal going on here.
Yeah.
You guys got
Everybody
goodie bags.
pajamas.
Yeah, you guys got goodie bags.
We did.
Goodie bags. We got, like,
Do you want us to open them?
Why not? We'll do an like an unboxing.
Okay. And it's so pretty. I love that it just happens to match what I'm wearing. I don't know how you guys managed that one.
good Way to go, guys. Yeah,
Yeah, well done.
We have stuff.
Ooh, apple bar.
I don't even know what's in these. I didn't get them.
It's a little bunny.
It's a bunny.
Little chocolate bunny.
It's almost Easter, isn't it?
It is.
And some tea.
One of my favorite
Antioxidant tea.
one of my favorite holidays is the day after Easter, the day after Halloween, the day after Valentine's Day, because that's when I roll into the drugstore and pick up all that candy on
oh, I have that.
sale.
I have that story.
Yummy.
I actually used to. I'm going
It's
way
healthy
off.
too. You guys are you balanced it good with healthy with
Just a couple little treats.
healthy and not healthy.
These are high fives, I think.
Wait,
Oh, high chews.
High chews.
High chews.
Oh, nice. Way to skew Japanese there.
Right.
But you were saying you were about to go way off.
Oh, I was gonna go off on a little tangent. So you say that those are your favorite days, which is all, for the shopping. A little story about myself on this one is I actually used to date a girl who their family invented white chocolate. And they owned a candy factory in Massachusetts,
That's amazing.
the Hebert Candy Mansion, and I worked with them around Easter, and I had a very good Easter that.
I bet you did.
I'm still working off residual Easter.
White chocolate is one of my favorite things. I love white chocolate.
We're on different sides of the fence on that one. I don't believe
He's
white
wrong.
chocolate is chocolate.
Clearly, he's wrong, but.
Well, then you're the Oreo on this one because you're the cream filling because I'm also chocolate.
Boom.
I'm the cream filling, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's.
I'll be the cream filling.
So, when you guys are doing Shelf Life, every single season, is there an end or conclusion to this, and then you're going to want to go on to another series, or is there? Like let's just ride this until that we have like the one fan, the super fan left that actually owns the merchandise.
Right.
Yeah.
We have plans for other shows, both for web series, short films and feature length films. Right now we're attached to this one. I think though that if we and I'm trying to shop it around again now with the fourth season to some bigger studios that might either want to help us, either provide some sort of sponsorship or help support it in some way.
Sure.
If that doesn't happen soon, I think we might have to wrap it up, eventually. But we wouldn't just cut it off after this season.
Right.
We do
There's a lot of going to be loose ends.
Yeah, we do at least another season. We've got the season finale. It sort of leaves you hanging. So.
Oh, because you've shot the whole season already, right?
Yeah, we've already shot all season 4.
Is it already all post done? No.
That's part of why I was like, well, in case something happens, it's a staggered post, so it's sort of a rolling post because we have multiple people because we're all doing it for the love of it. Everyone's sort of working on it on. There's timelines that are all sort of happening simultaneously.
Unfortunately, all of the people working on our production, the directors and the FX guys and everybody, are so talented that they're starting to really up level, and we're like. Do you have time for a little? Luckily, they love the show and they're making time, but it's becoming increasingly difficult because they're all in demand now.
Well, and I would have to assume a lot of your stuff that you have is custom props because everything has to be bigger than life, so everything has to be made during the show to make it, and then in post, I'm assuming the effects have to, also be larger than life.
The
dynamite.
On the dynamite.
Yeah. Jason, who did our opening sequence credits, as well as the spark. I mean, he's so talented with his visual effects. But I was going to say, we actually hired production designers for this season because that was part of our. We had production designers come in, which we've never. It's always been like me, like going to the dollar store.
I know the feeling.
What sort of could look like something that sort of would work.
And we built the hell out of a couple of big Legos for last season.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you, Apple Boxes and Home Depot and spray paint.
Home Depot is your friend.
Home Depot is your friend if you're a producer.
And are there any other tricks or tips or anything like that for doing your own web series? Doesn't even have to be necessarily production or post or even marketing or anything that you guys can recommend because you guys have been very successful at what you do. I mean, people know you.
Oh, thanks. Well, I would say the biggest thing I could recommend is like what you're doing. Like, be passionate about your idea and your concept because if you're going to be investing that much of your heart and soul and possibly money and blood and tears into it, make sure it's something you care about. Don't pick something because you think it'll be hot or you think it'll be popular and you really could care less. Because, I mean, if I were to do a sports show, not only what I have no idea what I'm doing, but it clearly is not going to be my heart and my soul and my passion, and it's going to show, and the people that are tuning in to watch it may or may not even tune in to watch it. Like, they really are going to be able to see that. So pick something you like.
Yeah, and I'd say consistency. You know, a lot of people will be, you know, they'll do like a pilot episode for something, and people will love it. It'll get, you know, a million hits, but they haven't done, you know, they're not ready to do the rest of it. And then you lose all those millions of people by the time you've gotten on to the next thing, unless your thing is so super cool that people will wait until the end of time, they're gone. If you do even, you know, 3 or 4 episodes and then you put a couple months in between, you're going to see a drop-off. We were even worried that, you know, in the few months that we've been on hiatus, you know, putting this season together, that we'd lose a lot of people. So pick something also that you know you can manage. You know, it doesn't have to be expensive. You know, so many of the shows that are really popular and that have, you know, zillions of subscribers are, you know, people talking to the webcam.
Well, I want to say thank you for letting me, you know, look like I know what I'm doing by having some more consistency by coming on, because I was literally just shatting myself for the past 24 hours going like, all right, got to make some calls. Who do I know? And I'm like, oh, that's right, I don't know anybody.
You know us.
I know, but I know you guys.
You know us.
We'll always be your fill-in. We'll always be your cleanup crew.
Well, and vice versa, if you ever need someone to hold a light or something like that.
Thank you.
I'm always...
We'll add you to that list.
Yeah, please
do have a list.
Is there a list?
There is a list.
Well, I want to see your studio anyway.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, it's a great little space. It's
Do you
downtown.
guys rent it out for people to do any work in, or?
We generally don't. It's usually much more. We'll have friends in there working. You know, if a friend of ours is doing a short film,
right?
We'll have them come in. But there's too much, you know, stuff in there that's personal stuff and so on, that it's not like a warehouse.
It's not like just a sound stage.
It's not like
an empty.
It's So we don't usually rent it out per se, but we've had our friends use it.
Yeah, it's being used a lot these
days. Yeah,
So.
because everybody we know is shooting a web series or a short film.
Yeah.
Good call. Well, and that's good though. I mean, it's nice to know that you guys are supporting. You know, so many people support you guys. You guys support other people.
Yeah.
You know, it's contrary to even comments I make. There is a bit of a community out there. It's just it can be really tough when you're in production, and you know, you kind of have to think about your stuff, you know, and stuff like that. But that's cool. And again, thank you guys for coming on.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure everyone knows where they can find you guys. So youtube.com/shelflifetheseries and www.shelflifeseries.com. And then you can also follow them on Twitter. It's twitter.com/Tara Platt. That's 2 T's. And twitter.com/Yuri Lowenthal. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nailed that one too.
That's awesome. Great. And then you guys also have the Shelf Life Twitter as well.
Oh, we have a whole bunch of Twitters. We've got
Shelf Life Facebook.
Shelf Life Series on Twitter. We have our book on voiceover, which is VO Voice Actor.
Yes.
We have our original movie that our first feature film, Tumbling After, on Twitter. We have what else? Con Artist Movie. Is it the movie or movie? Con Artist Movie, I think, on Twitter. We have a whole bunch of Twitter stuff. Very exciting.
If you can't find us on the internet, you're doing it wrong.
You're not looking.
We never got a chance to talk about the book. Let's talk about the book real quick before we leave.
Sure.
Tell us about the book.
It's called Voiceover Voice Actor, What It's Like Behind the Mic, and it came from getting a lot of questions from both friends and fans saying, you know, hey, I would love to get into voiceover someday. What do we do? And we used to try to respond to all those people, and then it got too out of control. So Tara said, well, you know, we've written out all these responses. You know, clearly people want to know this stuff. Maybe it'd be easier if we just put it all together in a book, so we could say, here's a book with all the, you know, information, you know, all the questions we get. And that's sort of how it came about. And so we started writing it, and it took about a year to get it out. And it's great because it's got a lot of anecdotes in it from other people we know in the industry.
Yeah, engineers and directors as well as actors. So it's not just coming from the acting perspective. You get like a nice...
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's out now?
Yeah.
And it's out?
It's actually in its 4th printing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic, guys.
It's just been like...
So
you can get it at Barnes & Noble still.
Oh, are there
as long as Barnes & Noble is still around. You can get it on Amazon.
Amazon, I was going to say, well,
Amazon.
when in doubt, just be safe, Amazon.
Everything's on Amazon, although you can also get it on our website, too.
Oh, you can get, yes, you can.
At voiceovervoiceactor.com.
Yes.
Voiceover. See, I want to make sure we get everything. I don't have a lower third for that one, but
all good.
Voiceovervoiceactor.com.
Threw that one at you.
No, that's good. But I want to thank you guys again for coming on. I really, really appreciate appreciate it, and it's really great to finally get a chance to chat with you guys. And with all the traveling and everything you guys are doing, I just want to say travel safe. And
Thank you.
if there's anything we can ever do to help, let us know.
We appreciate that. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. So we'll be right back. We're gonna be yes, Tara Platt, Yuri Lowenthal. Look at him go. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna do a we have still, believe it or not, a lot more show to talk about when we come back. We're gonna talk about. I did an interview this week with the folks over at Web Series Watch about the Geeky Awards, and so stick around, and we're gonna show you a little bit of that not right when we come back, but soon. So something like that. Go. I was fortunate enough to do an interview with the great people at Web Series Watch. It was Cindy Marie Jenkins and Patty Jean Robinson. They do this thing for the Geeky Awards where they're interviewing all the judges, and I guess my number came up, and they decided, hey, let's take the guy who's normally doing the interviewing and let's throw him behind the questions. So I went ahead and I did that, and it was a really, really fun interview. I actually thought I was a little too serious, but the questions that were being given out by the audience were just absolutely fantastic. I would definitely, we're going to show you a snippet of that interview right now, but the interview itself, the full interview is up on the Geeky Awards. It's up on the Geeky Awards YouTube channel, so go ahead and check it out. There's other great people up on there too, Bonnie Burton and Kristen Nettopack, who's the head of the Geeky Awards, and it's awesome. So here's a little clip from my interview. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about the Veronica Mars whole Kickstarter controversy, but it really isn't a controversy thing. So it'll be fun. So stick around, you guys. We'll be right back.
That's a lot of the reason. Here's the trifecta, like film, and then we're interested in web series, and also I do most of my consulting for theater. The same issue: how do you get your product beyond family, friends, and that initial either film festival or larger arts community to people who aren't in the industry? What's your suggestion for people who are interested in that, for filmmakers specifically?
How to get your stuff out there to a larger audience? It's hustle. I mean, it really is. And I hate to say this. I'll be so slammed by people on Twitter and Facebook and other places for saying this. But filmmakers can be lazy people. They're always looking, especially with new technology, they're always looking for the new thing that's going to help them make their movie better, faster, cheaper. And I think that, and they're also looking for people and new systems, and whether it's an app or whether it's a new book out or whatever it is, they're looking for new people that new methods to get their stuff out better, stronger, faster. But I think what that does for them, though, is it negates the educational aspect of it, which is something we're very heavily focused on with FilmSnobbery, is the educational aspect. People say, when I review something, they're like, oh, so you're a film snob, you must just tear stuff apart. And I'm like, no, our motto for that stuff, and what I tell all my writers, is educate before eviscerate. The idea is that, you know, if I tell you what you're doing wrong, that's my job, but it's also just as much my job and responsibility to tell you how you could have done it better. So for me, I feel like I'm being so serious right now. But for me, I feel that, you know, it is a very competitive field out there. There's a lot of content that's being submitted to, you know, every festival, not just the big festivals like Sundance or, you know, or Cannes or Tribeca or Toronto. It's, you know, there's just tons and tons of that, and web series is another new wrinkle in that as well, where, you know, it's this short form, almost television. It's you know, it's kind of the battle between movies and television, and now that battle happens on the web for, you know, web series, television short form content, and TV shows, or movies rather. So I have no idea where I was going with that. No.
Third Level Comics, one of our fans, we adore him. For an aspiring screenplay writer, what are the most difficult challenges to face?
It's pitching. I mean, I think writing, first of all, you do have to spend a lot of time writing. I think that writing, and I'm not the first person to say this, but writing is one of those things that costs you nothing in regards to money. It costs you time, but as a screenwriter, you know, you want to put your best foot forward. I think that time is the best investment on that. But writing costs nothing. It adds, you know, it adds nothing to a bottom line or a budget. You know, it's something you can do while you're working on something else. Focusing on story, focusing on really dynamic characters, focusing on structure. There was a lot of things I hear from people as well in the industry about format. Make sure that, you know, your stuff is properly formatted, and they will put that through the, you know, through the grinder with that, which is
format. I just need to say right now, I can't stand Courier, and I can't read it. But anyway, that's me. I'm not from.
No, I agree. Yeah. So there's that, and I would also say, you know, you have to. And this applies not just to screenwriters, but it's across the board with people in the entertainment industry. You have to network. You have to go to screenwriting meetings. You have to go to workshops. You have to go to film festivals. You have to go to seminars. You have to go to conferences. You have to go to everything that involves your industry. And it's not because you need to learn something, although you probably do. It's not because you need to whatever. It's because people get shit done in this industry that no other people. So much of this industry is done on favors and done on for, you know, somewhat nepotism as well, and it's just that's how it works out here. And I say out here, but I think that it's globally in most business. And that's the other thing you also have to do, is you have to approach screenwriting, even though it is a very highly creative endeavor. Just like filmmaking, you have to approach it from a business perspective as well. And I find that that is one of the things that helps myself work best with filmmakers, is because I have the left brain side of things while I can appreciate the creative right brain side of things. Whereas most filmmakers are so creatively right brain driven that I think that sometimes they forget, like, I'm an artist, and it's like, that's great. How are you earning? You know, it's, you know, because if this is what you want to do for a living, that's what you need to focus on, is how do you, and I don't want to say, like, be greedy and just, it's all about money, but you want to continue doing what you love to do for a living, right? So the natural extension of that is find a way to earn from it. And we're back, everybody. At least we hope we are. We're looking into that right now. But that's not going to stop me from going. So, all right, so that was a great interview, and I really do encourage everybody who has not had an opportunity to view that whole interview, and not just because it's me talking about film, but we did get some really great questions from the audience about, you know, hey, if you're a screenwriter, you know, how do we break in? If you're this, that, and the other thing. A lot of the answers I can really boil down for you if you don't want to watch the whole thing. A lot of the answers basically come down to, like, hey, you just got to hustle. So that's that. You know, there's so many other people out there trying to do what you're trying to do that you really need to, like, work it. And speaking of people who are working it, here we're going to go into the next phase of what we were going to talk about on the show, which was the whole Veronica Mars Kickstarter. And I had a great conversation the other night with Jerry Cavallero, my old co-host, about this. and he made some absolutely excellent points, most of which I don't remember now. But the whole thing is like this. A lot of people are up in arms because they're feeling one of a few different things. One, they're feeling that like, hey, this is a ostensibly a studio-backed and/or studio-distributed property. Why is it that they why is it that they don't seem to be like, why are they coming to fans? Why they have the money. Kristen Bell's got $2 million. Why can't she throw in $2 million for this show that if she likes it so much or something like that? The only thing I have to say about that is that's not how the economics of Hollywood works, nor TV shows. If Kristen Bell likes a show she was in, she just can't go and be like, I'm going to go do a movie of it. I mean, obviously, these people have to go. The showrunner, the person who is in charge has to get permission. The people who, are involved in, who actually own the rights to the show have to have permission. There's a lot to it. And the whole distribution thing obviously is a completely different situation. And I'm going to interrupt myself for 1 second just to make sure. I know you're having an issue over there, but how are you doing over there on the show? Looks okay? Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry. The good news is I can edit all this out in post. So so there's a lot of controversy there. There's also a lot of people saying like, this is supposed to be for artists. This is supposed to be for charities. This is supposed to be for independent filmmakers and musicians, and people are trying to bring cool new technology to places that into people that typically wouldn't have the opportunity. And I think they feel jilted because this series has already had its opportunity, it had its fan base, it had its TV run, and they feel that like, hey, why now do we have to, now what's going to happen is they're afraid that the market's going to be flooded with situations like this, and what's going to happen is that they're going to be forced out. The good news is this, folks. There is a place for everybody, and you have to give it to Veronica Mars because they used crowdfunding specifically for what it was invented for. Yes, they have a lot more advantages than a lot of other independent productions, but the fact is that they have an audience, they proved that they had an audience, and they mobilized that audience to give them money to be able to create more additional content. And that is what crowdfunding is supposed to be for. And I personally, I'm thinking like, okay, would people react the same way if this was like a Firefly movie, another Firefly, like if this was Serenity 2, or another series on the web of Firefly or something like that, or if this was like another Jaws movie. I mean, like it could take any property that has been jilted in the past. What Jaws would be Jaws the Revenge. Let's just pretend that didn't happen, and then and then with Firefly, how that was canceled, or, it could have been anything. Like, say Futurama never came back on the air over on, like, Comedy Central. They decided they wanted to make an animated movie, and they did crowdfunding for that. There's a lot of, I don't see a problem with that. And I'm wondering if it was just because it's a specific property of Veronica Mars that people have the problem with, or if it's, or if it's something else. Anyway, so my point on all that is that I think that there are some overreactions. I do feel that there are some valid reactions to that because the marketplace between Indiegogo, Kickstarter, all these different crowdfunding platforms, yes, they are saturated at the moment. There's so many projects of different kinds that are out there. But if you look at other offshoot type of situations like Seed and Spark, that is specifically for video and film, this is what's going to happen. It's going to create more opportunities for other niche crowdfunding platforms for you to migrate onto that maybe aren't as crowded crowdfunding. They're not as it's a marketplace that's not as saturated. So I mean, you'll go to Seed and Spark, and you'll be throwing out tweets or Bitly links or whatever it is from them instead of Indiegogo or Kickstarter. So the drawback of that is, do you have the Kickstarter numbers necessarily? Do you have like the Kickstarter, the go-go factor with Indiegogo or something like that? Do you have like the chutzpah that comes along with that? Maybe not. But I think that what that teaches you is that teaches you to have to take on the additional responsibility of marketing your product better, and your product, movie, whatever it happens to be. I mean, and that is another point I made actually during that Geeky Awards kind of conversation, was that the thing that disappoints me most about technology moving forward, the thing disappoints me most about even a lot of these crowdfunding platforms and stuff like that, is that I almost feel that it makes it too easy. And I know a lot of people are going to go like, it ain't fucking easy. I agree with you. It's not easy. But these things make things easier. And the problem with that is, as the learning curve decreases because of technology or because of the way things are made easier to accomplish, the learning curve for that drops. But yet there's so many other aspects of that business you're missing out on. With crowdfunding, it's a really good introduction to marketing and business, but it's not the be-all, end-all of marketing and business, and that's what I think a lot of people forget. There's a lot of conversations that we can have about this, and that I think that we'll have to. Someone's trying to come in. The call's coming from within the house. All right. So anyway. Fuck it. So I just wanted to address it. If you guys have any questions there in the chat room about this, or you want to make a statement, definitely let us know here, because we want to talk to you. We want to know what your thoughts are. Especially because we're ending the show in a couple minutes, so make that happen. But before we go, one thing I also want to talk about is, first of all, I want to give a big shout out to Melanie Marquez for M4PR for actually helping us book these guests that we had tonight, because in the past 24 hours I've gone crazy trying to find someone to come on the show to entertain you people. That isn't me. And she's, wildly succeeded. So I was really happy to get Tara and Yuri on, and they were really fantastic guests. And I just want to say thank you to Melanie. All right, folks, so I have no idea where the hell we dropped off at with you guys, but one of the things I was talking about before we had some technical difficulties, because it wouldn't be a Film Snobbery Live without technical difficulties. One of the things we were talking about was, we were talking about specifically where we're at and where we're shooting. It's the Hot Pixel post-production facilities. They're awesome people here. I'm actually sitting sitting in their color bay, believe it or not. And they've got this great colorist. Guy's like a celebrity. His name is Bruce Goodman. He's worked on so many great I say shows, but movies. Everything from the Coen brothers to the Platt brothers, Nick Cassavetes. He also works a lot with independent filmmakers like Sean Hackett, friend of the show. They did his movie Homecoming. Guys worked with Kevin Smith on things like Zack and Miri Make a Porno and Clerks 2. The reason why I bring that up is because one of the cool things about Hot Pixel, aside from the fact that they let us shoot in their offices, is that they get independent film. And the great part about them is that if you go and you bring your independent film to a post-production facility like Hot Pixel, the same people who are working on like a Nick Cassavetes film or a Coen Brothers film are the same people who are going to work on your film. So what you're going to get out of that is you're going to get quality across the board. So editing, audio mixing, coloring. I mean, these guys have it's a full post-production place, and yes, they handle like A-list stuff, like No Country for Old Men, but at the same time, they're gonna handle your independent film, and hopefully work with you within your budget as well. They're just really all-around great people, and I can't recommend them highly enough for for what they do. So I want to say another quick shout out and thank you to the good folks at Hot Pixel. You can go check them out over at hotpixelpost.com or hotpixelinc.com. They both kind of go to the same place. So that was actually going to be the end of our show. But we had a whole kind of snafu. So what are you going to do? It happens. But I want to go ahead and I want to thank our crew. They're awesome. And I want to thank our guests tonight, Tara and Yuri Lowenthal, Tara Platt and Yuri Lowenthal. And watch Shelf Life, because that whole thing, I watched that same episode like 5-6 times tonight because I had to prep the show, and I laughed every time. So I'm really looking forward to this Tuesday for a new episode from them, and definitely check those guys out. I mean, if you have questions on crowdfunding too, I'm sure they would. If they answered all the questions on voiceover acting, they could probably answer your questions on crowdfunding too, because they raised 35 grand almost themselves. So. Definitely check them out. Also, follow everyone that, follow Web Series Watch on Twitter and stuff too, because they did a fantastic interview. Gave me a run for my money, and it was really Because that was really a great experience for me. They had awesome questions. I want to thank everyone of you who went and actually watched the show. Stayed up late, some of you. I know because you have weird hours in your jobs and stuff like that. If you were watching on a tablet or an app or something like that, hopefully you were able to watch all or most of the show. Hopefully you'll join us again next week. Next week we do have some fantastic guests. I love these people. We have Paul Osborne and Blaine Weaver coming on. Now, if you don't know Paul Osborne did a documentary I feel is absolutely essential viewing for anyone interested in film in general, but I would say any film school in the country. Paul Osborne did this movie called Official Rejection. It's absolutely fantastic. It's kind of it's the precursor to Nick and Jerry Get Off. He tells you about their experience at a film festival. Jerry and I tell you about our experience at a film festival. So they're like, brother movies. And then also Blaine Weaver. Blaine Weaver is an awesome guy. He's a director, actor. He also shows up in Paul's movie, Official Rejection. But Paul has a new movie coming out called Favor that you guys need to check out. I believe it's premiering at the Phoenix Film Festival. And then Blaine has a movie that's already kind of come out, but it's coming out now on VOD and DVD called 6 Month Rule, which I got to see in Santa Monica when it first came out, and it was absolutely hilarious. Great cast. Just really solid movie, so I can't recommend that enough. But they're going to be here next Thursday, both of them, so it'll be kind of similar to what we did today, except dudes, and maybe we won't be wearing pants. Who knows? We've heard talk of a pantsless show. That may happen. I know, you're looking forward to that, aren't you? They're both of them far more sexy than I am. So, Bill, sorry. Just make sure just watch the crotch shots. That's all I'm going to say. So, anyway, I'm really looking forward to having those guys on the show because they're both, they're very funny and at the same time they're really talented as well, and they have a lot to say about the independent film industry and they have a lot of experience to back it up. So I'm really looking forward to having them, and we're looking forward to having you guys there too. So join us next Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at FilmSnobberyLive.com. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow FilmSnobbery on Twitter, twitter.com/FilmSnobbery. You can also see us on Facebook all the time as well, Facebook.com/FilmSnobbery. And you can follow and subscribe to our show over on YouTube, YouTube.com/FilmSnobbery. And be sure to check out our reviews. We're hiring new writers as we speak, so we'll be seeing a lot more reviews in the very near future. I'm really looking forward to that. So you can see new reviews, new interviews, and new shows over at FilmSnobbery.com every week, every day for that matter, every minute of every hour, because we're always here for you. Now, I hope everyone has a good week. I'm glad to finally wrap up this show because this has been the show from hell. But I do appreciate everyone who helps make these shows possible, both behind the camera and at home as well. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night.